So, welcome to the first day of 20K months. Shift your DNA and strategy to make 20K months your norm. Now, I always love to start off by asking all of you guys a question. Okay, so right now you guys are here because some part of the masterclass, some part of the marketing, something that I said, you were like, ooh, I want that. Okay, whether you're really close, like this close to getting to 20K months, or you're like, there's no way I'm like near that, but I want to be here because I want to learn. So tell me in the chat, and there's no right or wrong answer. Like we're all here because we're learning. So on a scale of 1 to 10, when you ask yourself, or when you tell yourself, I want to make 20K months, how certain do you feel in your body you can make that your norm? Like when you say, or when you write down, I'm going to make 20K in the month of March, or even just you attending this masterclass and you claiming 20K is going to feel really fucking good for me to do. Like, how do you feel in your body? Do you feel like, oh my God, that's so far away? It's like anxiety. It's like almost like someone's like sitting on your chest, or you're like, ooh, I actually feel super grounded. It's like an 8, or maybe it's like I'm like kind of there, like maybe a 4 or 5. And this is you bringing self-awareness to where you're at, because everything we're covering today is all about the DNA and how you're shifting, who you're being. Because guess what? You can have all the strategy in the world, but if you don't actually believe that's possible for you, it's not going to happen. Okay. So let me look into the chat. We have Karina 2, Kristen 10, Marlene, not clear on that now, but I'm sure I can make it norm a 9. Yeah, I'll tell you guys, by the end of this training, you guys will probably be at like 8, 9, 10. Okay. 10, 10, 10, 8, but hopefully 10 soon. 8, 7 now, 10 in May. Oh, okay, cool. So this is just, once again, self-awareness, because we're going to come back to this question later on in the masterclass. Okay, so what I'm going to cover today is what it means to shift your DNA. One of the first questions that I got when I started to promote this masterclass from somebody was, what do you mean by shift your DNA? And do you want to know what my response was? Sign up and attend the masterclass, because that is what I'm going to go through in today's session. Okay, so when I think about shifting your DNA, this is basically being somebody who is able to honestly bring in any amount of money. It doesn't even have to be 20K. It can be $500 or 5,000 or 10 or 50 or 100,000, right? It can be literally any amount of money, but being someone who is able to bring in cash, first of all, bring in success, bring in wealth, and of course, especially to make 20K months your norm. You guys have heard me say this so much, but right now, you are not somebody who can make 20K months. Now, this is me contradicting myself, because later on, I'm going to tell you that you can literally, like, you have everything you need to make 20K months, but like right now, you genuinely don't. Otherwise, you would have done it already, right? So when you look at a goal, it's like, okay, we have this platter right here that says like 20K months, and you want to get there. The reason you haven't gotten there right now is because some part of your either action, your body, your identity, your habits, your characteristics is not aligned to that goal. Otherwise, once again, you would have already done it, right? So the first thing that we want to take a look at is what is like out of alignment, right? Like why is that happening? Now, before we get into, because I want to get into a story that is going to help you break down and see how 20K months is so fucking close for you. Is so close for you. But before I do, why 20K months? Right? So some of you guys maybe have attended this masterclass and you guys signed up. You're like, okay, like why is this for 20K months? Why isn't this for like 10K months or 50K months or like 100K months? Now, do you guys want to hear the answer for this? Just yes or no. Let me know in the chat. Yes or no? I need to take a sip of water. Otherwise, my throat's going to start to give out already, because I've already been on like 2 calls today, which for me sometimes is a lot. Okay, let me pull up the chat. Yes. Okay. It's going to be the most mind-blowing answer. Are you ready? I did a poll on my story and in this Facebook group asking, what is your goal that you want to reach? And most of you said 20K months. So that is why I created a masterclass on how to get to 20K months and keep that your norm. However, I do want to make this very, very clear. Everything that I'm sharing in day 1 and day 2, you can literally apply it for 30K months, 40K months, 50K months, if not more. I think we have someone registered who's already making 100K months. And they're like, is this going to be beneficial for me? Absolutely. Because in reality, you can make a lot of money, a lot of money. But I want you guys to really listen to, especially in the next few slides, when I start to get into like the breakdown of your DNA and how to shift that, I really want you guys to listen to how to make this your normal. Okay, because right now, for some of you, like genuinely your normal right now might be, I just want to get to like 10K consistent months, or maybe it is 20K consistent months, or 30 or 40 or 50, right? Because I'm the type of person where if you hit it once, that's amazing, that's great, but can you actually duplicate it? Can you do it again? Because all of you are here because you are business owners and you want to scale for a very, very long time. Like you want to have a sustainable business, not just one that you keep around for like a year or two, right? So that is why. Now, let's start with a story. Okay, I want to talk about how I jumped from making $2,675 one month to $30,100 the very next month. And this was about 2 years ago. I was going back and looking at my numbers and I'm like, when did I make a really big leap? And when did I start to normalize that in my business? Now, for me, my jump, it immediately went to 30,000. There wasn't a month where I was like 20K, 20K, 20K. It jumped to 30,000. Now, I want to stop sharing my screen for this. When I share stories, I like to not have slides up, but this is the story. Okay. So some of you guys right now might be at a point in your business where you're only making a few $1,000s, right? And in your body, and even just looking at your business, you might be logically, I don't know how that can happen because I haven't even hit $5,000 or I haven't even hit $10,000 yet. Now, this was me back in this happened in 2020. Back in 2020, I made almost $3,000 one single month. Now, the next month, I was looking at my business and I was journaling, like, where do I see my business going? Where do I want to attract clients? What are my offers actually going to look like? And something came through me, and I'm sure all of you guys have experienced this, like this energetic shift of like, you know what, like I can actually jump to 20K in my business, 30K in my business. I can actually bring in a lot of clients because A, I'm really good at what I do, but also B, like, why can't I do it? And it sounds so like basic, but if you genuinely think about it, like, why can't you? Dramatic pause. Like, seriously, like, why can't you? Because you guys are probably, obviously, you guys follow me. You guys follow other coaches, other mentors, other people that are probably your peers who are making a lot more money than you are, who have a lot more clients. So for me, that month when I made what, 2,600, and then the next month I made 30,000, I first of all stopped believing that $20,000 and $30,000 months were far away from me. I stopped believing that it was going to take me months and months and months and years to actually get to that point. So right now, if there's a voice in your head saying, hey, like, you haven't even got to 10K, or you haven't even got to 20K, you haven't even got to 30K, like, be okay with that voice there, but don't entertain it, right? Because what happens is when you start to entertain that voice, guess what? You start to make smaller actions. You don't take big actions. So what I did to make that jump, I stopped entertaining like the small voices in my head. I stopped believing that I had to literally work hard every single day and grind myself to the ground before I could get to a higher cash month. Now, the other thing that I did that got me from 2,600 to 30,000 was I started to write down, and I'm going to break this down in all the other slides. I started to write down if I was already living that life right now, what would I actually be doing outside of my business? What would I actually be doing outside of my business? Most of the time, people will ask themselves, what should I be doing in my business to reach the next goal, right? Let me know in the chat if you're like, yes, that's usually what I do. I usually write down a whole strategy of how to, get 20 clients in the next like 30 days. Usually that's what it is. I did the opposite. I'm like, what would I be doing if I was already making that much amount of money? What would I be doing? And I just knew, like, in my body that that wasn't far away from me. Like, everything that I was about to do, it was just going to happen. And I stopped controlling the outcome of basically my actions, right? So sometimes when we're about to make a jump, when we're about to take a leap, we start to like hold on, and we start to like almost put so much more pressure on ourselves. Let me know if you've ever done that, right? It's like, you have a goal, you write down all the actions, and then you do all the actions, but then it's like overthinking, right? Or it's like, I need to make this goal, so I'm going to just work hard, straight, and not do anything else in my life for the next like 4 weeks until I hit that goal. It's like, I can't go celebrate until I hit that goal. No, that's not necessarily how it works. Yeah, overthinking, overgrinding. Yes. So the crazy part about this is, and I'm going to go through what I did with my mindset. Tomorrow, we're going to go through strategy. But the crazy part about this is when I made that jump, like, I couldn't have logically predicted that could have happened. Like, everything that I did, it wasn't magic at all whatsoever. But the main thing looking back when I did that jump is because I 100% primed myself and my body to match the energetic frequency of receiving more money, of receiving more clients, of receiving so much more success. Okay. So that is what we are going to go through right now. Let me pull up my slides again. So what does it mean to shift your DNA? Now, right now, you might be looking at your goal and you might be putting it, first of all, on a pedestal. And let me know in the chat if you've done this before. You're like, oh my God, 20K months is like, it's literally like heaven. Like, I will be jumping off the walls if I would be able to do it. Like, there's so many people who are doing it. It feels so far away. It's like, take it off the pedestal. And it's like a fucking course, celebrate, get happy, get excited. But at the same time, it's like, it should be normal in your life, and normalize it. When you start to normalize things that you want in your life, they actually start to, like, you actually start to receive them, right? It's like, think about it. You guys have probably experienced this sometime in your life when you're like, you really want something and you're like, oh, like, I don't really care for it that much, but it's like, I know I'll get it. Then suddenly you receive it. It is because you have the awareness and you have the desire for it, but you're not actively like chasing it down, nor are you controlling it, nor are you like praising it in order to receive it into your life. So the first part of shifting your DNA is not putting what you want on like a huge pedestal. This was one of the biggest mistakes I made way early on in my business. Was when I had my first, it was like my first, and I'm going to share this story later, but I'm going to talk about it right now because that's what I do. The first time I ever had my $10,000 month, I fucking put on a pedestal. It was like, it was just so crazy. Like I celebrated it so much. I thought it was like the biggest thing in the world, which it was, but to a point where I couldn't duplicate it. Like the next month I couldn't repeat it because I put it so much on a pedestal. So you also know strategically and energetically like how to make it happen. So right now, if you're here, either watching live or on the replay, and you're like, I want 20K months to be my norm, but you genuinely don't know how to do it strategically or energetically, I'm so happy you're here because you're going to learn, right? So if it is 20K, that's amazing. I'm happy you're here. But if it is any other goal in your life and in your business, you need to know energetically and strategically how. Okay. And why I say strategically and energetically is because every time you reach a different level in your life and in your business, it's a different energy that has to match that. Okay. Third thing, it's just something you do. It is normalized. It is normalized. Tell me in the chat, are you able to have a conversation about your huge goal and your vision with somebody who is not in your industry? Someone who doesn't understand what you do? So let me know in the chat, yes or no. Because I know sometimes people will hide their goals, hide their big dreams, be in the shadows because they feel like they're going to be too much, because they don't want to outshine other people. And I'll be the first to say, this has been a constant struggle for me, because for me, my personality is I want everybody to win, which is amazing. But at the same time, it's like, I want everyone to feel comfortable. But I realized I got to a point where it's like, I am very fucking big. Like I am I make a big deal about everything. I am too much for some people. And it's like, sometimes when I even meet someone new and they ask me like, what do you do? I tell them, I'm like, I make people unfucking forgettable all around the world. I help people make 6-7 figure businesses using social media. And they're like, oh, it's like, and it's kind of like awkward sometimes because they're like, oh, like that's cool, because they don't get it. But it's like normal for me. Right. So it's like, I could have said something completely different or like not have talked about it at all. But when you normalize the fuck out of something, it's easier for you to receive it because there isn't resistance. Okay. And we're going to dive deeper into this concept here in the next few slides. And then the last thing is, just looking at my chat, the last thing is, you've already primed yourself to be someone who is able to bring it into your reality. Odds are you haven't done it yet, once again, because someone somewhere in your life, somewhere in your business, it's not aligned for you to receive it right now, or you need to make room and or space for it. Okay. So take a look. If you were to bring on a lot of clients, would your business break? Would it break? Would you lose your mind? Would you even be able to deliver? And if it's no, I can't, then that's a perfect reason why you're unable to bring it into your reality right now. Okay. I'm just looking at the chat. Yes, I can. Yes, I can. Hello, Donnie. It's been a while. Good to be here. Amazing. So good to see you guys here. I see we have like people that I haven't seen in a while jump on in the Facebook group live stream. So I'm so happy you guys are here. So let's get into what I call the DNA breakdown. Okay. The DNA breakdown. Now, this is what you guys are going to use every time you feel like you are ready to break into a next level, whether that's for revenue, whether that's something else for your business, whether that's something for your life. Like anytime you feel like, oh, there's this goal, I want to achieve it, but I feel this sense of like almost like uncertainty, or like, oh, I'm kind of scared. There's like doubt, there's fear. this is what you're going to use. And I want this to be a resource for you, like moving forward for everything, for you to shift your DNA to be someone who's actually able to receive that goal. Okay. So DNA is going to be really easy for you to remember. The first one is delusion. N is for normalize, and A is for attraction. Okay. So delusion, normalize, and attraction. So let's break it down. The first step of DNA is delusion. Now, this should literally be like, I should copyright this word delusion because I have been using it so much in my life and in my business because it works. Because it works. Because it works. Because it works. Okay, so I've always been that type of person where I go for like the unrealistic. I go for like the impossible because some part of me knows that, hey, if I can actually make this happen, if I can actually take this action, if I can even just like this much amount believe that maybe, just maybe I can bring it into my reality, wouldn't that be so much better than just sitting and thinking, oh my gosh, like I can't, like I just can't do it. Like, isn't it so much better to fucking just make something happen because that's just who you are? Like, sometimes I will tell people my goals and they'll look at me and be like, you're just like insane. Literally. And like consciously, we're like, no, like that's like, you should definitely do that, like be delusional. But unconsciously or subconsciously, you won't actually go do it. Right? So tell me, I want all of you guys to tell me, because we have what? I can't look at the chat, but I think we have 9 people in the Zoom room and like 8 or 9 or 10 people here in the Facebook group. I want all of you guys to tell me your big delusional goal right now in the chat, right now. And I'm putting all of you guys in on the spot right now. And the reason why I'm doing it is because this is the first piece and the first step of you actually receiving. Like, make it batshit delusional and crazy. I'll tell you one of my delusional dreams, one of my delusional goals that I know for a fucking fact, like I genuinely know 100% my body is going to happen. My next book I will write is going to be a New York Times bestselling book. Like, it's already done. Like, I already know for a fact it is going to happen. I don't know how, nor do I need to, but I know it's going to happen. I literally was having a conversation with Andy, my boyfriend, the other day. And he was like, when are you going to write your next book? And I'm like, not right now, but I think in like the next 2 years, I'm going to write a book. And I know when I do, it's going to hit New York Times bestseller. And I guarantee if I said that to somebody else, they would think I'm just like fucking insane and crazy. Because to be a New York Times bestseller, you probably need to have an audience of millions, which I don't. You need to have some sort of like brand name, which I do, but maybe not as big as like Marie Forleo or like, you know, Grant Cardone or Lewis House or somebody else. I don't even know if they have New York Times bestselling books, but I just know for a fact that it's just already done. Right. So when I think of delusion, my definition of it is literally making the impossible possible. Like, people think it's living a fantasy. I think it's living reality. Because if you have seen someone done it and do it and continue to do it, like, why can't you? Like, genuinely, why can't you? And I'll give you guys another example. If you guys were on Empire Creator Live, my weekly live show that I host every Monday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern, I talked about it literally just yesterday, and how being fucking delusional allowed me to win a $5,000 scholarship when I was like 19, 20 years old in college. It allowed me to become a TEDx speaker when I never even spoke on stage. It allowed me to get featured on Fox News as a student without a business or anything like profound. How did that happen? Like, there's no logical reason why or how, but I was just delusional about it. I was just like, oh, I just know it's going to happen. Like, why couldn't it? Like, why not me? So the thing is, and I wrote this here in pink with the background, I'm going to check your guys' comments here right now after I say this. The thing is, you don't have to 100% believe it with every inch of your body, but you need to play in the field of why couldn't it happen? Because I guarantee also some of you might be like, okay, like I'm like, I can play in delusion, but at the same time, I'm like, am I fooling myself? Like, is it kind of scary for me to do that? It's fine. But like, why couldn't that actually happen for you? Because there is also a season in my business and in my life where I faked it till I made it, faked it till I made it. I I used the quote like fake it till you make it in terms of my identity, my habits, my characteristics until it actually became my reality. Now, sometimes people don't like fake it till you make it because it comes off as like scammy or like spammy. Now, of course, I don't do this for business, nor have I ever, but what I did it for was when I didn't have 100% confidence in myself, I faked it. I faked it. When I would meet people, I acted like I had my shit together when I didn't. When I would look at myself in the mirror, I would feel like shit, but I would tell myself, oh my gosh, you're fucking amazing. And eventually, time after time after time after time, that became my reality. So even if, I'm going to repeat myself, you don't believe it 100%, don't completely bypass it because you can play in the field of why couldn't it happen for me? Now, let me quickly look at the chat because I want to see all of your guys' delusional goals. To make 500K annually as my normal. Fucking yes, Kristen. And I already know for a fucking fact, you are going to do that. Marley, 100K per month. Kristen published my book in 2023. Donnie doing $1 million a year, my normal. So many people do it. So can I. Makes perfect sense. Be it now till we become it. But you are genuine. You are yourself. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Like even the thing is, even when you do fake it till you make it, or you play in the realm of delusion, that is still you, right? Like you are still absolutely being yourself. Now I have to stop the screen just for a sec. Sometimes I can't see the chat here in the Zoom room. But that's okay. So let me look at the chat quick because I want to see all of your guys' goals. $1 million by May. I've been saying it for months. Oh my goodness. I love that. I love that. I will help 10,000 people optimize their lifestyle for high frequency through my beta program in 2023. Oh, I love that so much. 50K months while giving my clients value. Yes, this sounds interesting. No pun intended. Delusional goal, making 5K a month in my coaching business this year while working full time. I love that. I love that. So like all of this, it's like, it's so funny. It's so funny because one of my good friends said this to me. When I was literally just starting my business, he said to me, Sabah, I feel like I believe in you more than you believe in yourself. I feel like I believe in you more than you believe in yourself. And that's when I was like, I just wasn't certain about myself. I didn't have the confidence that I do have, nor did I have like any of it that you guys see right now. And I'm like, that was just like that moment for me was just insane because if other people could see it, like, why couldn't I? And like, I genuinely say this from the bottom of my heart, every single person that's on this live, like, I genuinely believe every inch of my body that you guys can achieve all of your goals when you actually start to believe that you can too. Because someone can tell you that like they believe in you, but when you actually start to believe in yourself, and it could happen overnight or it could happen over days, it doesn't matter how fast or how long it takes you, that's when you actually start to believe. And that's when you actually start to attract everything that you desire. So the first step in shifting your DNA delusion, this is your action plan. This is going to be a part of your homework too. Take actions and speak in present tense as if you've already achieved that goal. So like what I said, I faked it till I made it. I want you guys to do that. Like literally, even just do it for a day. And let me know in the chat, what are you going to commit to doing? Are you going to do it for a day, a week, all of March? Take actions and speak in present tense as if you have already achieved that goal. So for an example, when I jumped from making $2,600 a month to $30,000 the next month, I planned my celebrations before it happened. I booked dinners. I booked time to hang out with my friends because remember, the question I asked myself was, if I already reached this goal, what would I be doing outside of my business? It was hanging out with friends, going to the beach, going out to dinner, celebrating. I made plans for all that before it happened because guess what? Regardless if it would happen or not, I would still go do that. So I want all of you guys to go plan something sometime in March, because March is tomorrow, to celebrate yourself and celebrate whatever that you accomplish in March. And in your mind, it can be, I fucking made 20K this month. I made 50K this month. This is my celebration dinner for it. But releasing all expectations of it actually happening. Put a 1 in the chat if you're going to commit to doing that for yourself. And I've done this so many times, and it literally almost every single time I do it, it works. 1, 1, 1, 1. Amazing, amazing. Okay. So the second part of shifting your DNA is normalize. Okay, normalize. So I talked about this a little bit already, but when we put something on a pedestal, it tells the world and us it's hard for us to attain, or quote unquote harder for us to attain, right? It's like we see somebody and we're like, oh my gosh, like, is there something about them? There's something about the skills. Like maybe they're just lucky. Maybe it's a coincidence. Like that doesn't happen to me. That doesn't happen to us. I was born and raised in Iowa. Let me know in the chat if you guys know where Iowa is, by the way. It's dead center in the US. Born in Iowa, nothing happens there at all whatsoever. Small town, like 50,000 people, I think. And I was literally that crazy person who knew for a fact that I would create something so fucking unforgettable in my life. And I came from a high school where like I was that person who didn't have many friends, shyest person ever, quietest person ever. And like, it was just like, you don't do, like, it's not normal for people to build multi 6-7 figure businesses if you're from Iowa. Like, that's just not something you do. Now, this is in 2021. I had a feature that I got featured on Forbes as like the top business coach to work with in 2021. And I shared that on my social media, X, Y, and Z. And some people still follow me from high school. And this person, like I have never really talked to in my entire life. Like I know him, he knows me. That was about it. I get a message from this guy who I went to school with in high school. And he's like, hey, like I saw your feature on Forbes. Congrats. You're probably like one of the most successful people from our school, if not from Ames. And I'm from Ames, Iowa. And when I saw that message, I was like, oh my gosh, like that's so cool, because it probably is true to a point. But immediately what I thought was, most people will not even entertain the thought of doing something so big because of where they came from, or because of their past, or because of their environment. Like right now, you might have a certain scenario or situation that doesn't make it a clear path for you to get to a certain point. So then you just think it's like, oh, that's meant for other people. And once again, I'm going to say this once again, whether you do it consciously or subconsciously, because some of you might say, no, I don't do that. But then it's like next time you see someone, or next time you have an opportunity, you don't do it, or you shy away, or you dim. So sometimes, once again, people can also reach a goal, but they can't do it again because they haven't normalized it in their body and environment. So one of the reasons why this masterclass is like make 20K months your normal is because of this piece. It's one thing to do it once, one thing to do it twice, but can you continually do it? Right? Remember when I told you guys I made 10K one month and then I couldn't do it again? it was because it wasn't normalized in my system. It wasn't normalized in my body. I wasn't grounded by doing it. So of course I couldn't do it the next month, because then I was like the fear, the anxiety, like how am I going to do it again? How? Now, when I normalized it, when I didn't necessarily quote unquote care whether or not I would jump to 20K, 30K months, then it started to be like 10K months, 10K months, and 20K months, and 20K months, and 30K months, and 30K months, and 50K months. And it started to just like compound on top of each other, right? But so many times we can't ever normalize a situation because we either put on a pedestal, or fears, doubts, insecurities, nerves start to get in the way of us making it our normal and getting to a point of just saying like, that is just what we do. We just make it happen. So what we normalize in our day makes it easy for us to receive in our business and in our life. So if something amazing happens in your day that you're like, ooh, I would love for that to be a normal for me, make it a normal. Make it a normal. Make it a normal. If someone reaches out to you to buy an offer and they pay in full, and be like, cool. That is like so normal. Like that happens to me all the time. And this is where it's like fine line. Like, of course, like I'm the type of person where I celebrate all of my wins. I celebrate all of my big milestones, but I never put it and I never see it as, oh my gosh, this is like the best thing in the world. It's like very neutral energy, but it's still excitement. Or it's very neutral energy and it's still like, I still get sad. So it's like, as business owners, as we get to the next level in our business and as we continue to scale, how can we hold celebration, sadness, but still neutralize it so we can scale like this? Okay. Let me just look at the chat here quick. One, yes. Okay, cool. So the action plan for normalize is write down all of your fears, doubts, insecurities, quote unquote pedestals, nerves of you reaching that goal, and rewrite those in normal tense. Now, I also want you, this wasn't in the action step for today, but I just thought about it right now. I think it's going to be really helpful for people. I want you to even write down people that you look up to and you follow on social media. I might be one of them, I don't know, where you put them on a pedestal. The other day, I made a post on my Instagram and a lot of you guys resonated with it. And I said something along the lines of, I can't even remember like the actual language, but it was like, I know that I can lead my mentors and coaches as powerfully as they can lead me. It's like they're not better than I am. It's like something along the lines of that. I'm actually gonna pull it up right now because I want to know like the word for word of what I said and I just can't remember it. So I said, my coaches and mentors are not better than me. And quite frankly, I know I can lead them as powerfully as they lead me. Now, some people, once again, might look at that and be like, oh my gosh, like that's like you're being a fucking like douche or like you're too full of yourself. Like that's egotistical. Like, no. But in reality, when I think about it and when I genuinely look at my mentors and coaches, I'm like, they know so much. They have so much experience, knowledge, skills, intelligence that I absolutely need and want to learn from because they have experienced something in their life that I want to experience right now. But at the same time, I also know that I can lead them very powerfully. Now, that was like a very specific example, but it's like when you're also in coaching containers, even something like this, it's like, I hope you guys look at me and you're like, oh, like this is all amazing. I'm going to implement all of this because I can do the exact same thing, if not more and better. And it's not coming from like, oh, I'm better than you, or oh, like I shouldn't learn from other people. Like it's not coming from a lack energy, but it's coming from an energy of like, I am super embodied of me and of myself. It's almost like that fangirl energy. And it's like, I love my fans and like, I love all of you, right? I love all of you. But at the same time, it's like sometimes when we put people on a pedestal, it's also harder for us to connect to them because all that we're seeing is the flash. All that we're seeing is like the money. And I've seen this, like, this has happened to me like early on before I ever even had a business. I would meet multimillionaires, billionaires, because when I used to work with my mentor, I would go fly to red carpet premieres, events, and I would literally just go meet millionaires when I was in college. And back then I was like, oh my God, you're fucking amazing. You're like a fan. Like, I'm like a big fan. Like, I love you. I love your work. And that's like, fine. That's perfect to do. But it was interesting because as I started to have a conversation with them, I could see them as a real human. Like, I could see like, oh, like, you know, they're like, they did that because they did the work. They did the strategic work, but they also did the internal work. So it's normal now for them to receive all this money and cash and opportunities and business and success because it's normal for them. But I also know if I were to do it, it's normal for me too. Because I guarantee almost every single person you have met that is quote unquote more successful than you, they speak to you like a real human. They don't speak down at you. And I know there's some like bad coaches and mentors out there because I've also experienced the opposite of they look at their clients as like someone below them, but like that's not it. So for normalize, write down all the fears, doubts, insecurities, pedestals, and rewrite those in normal tense. And I'll give you guys an example because I do have it written down because it's going to be a part of your homework. One big fear that I used to have was I felt like I didn't have enough skill in order to like get to the next level in my business. Like, I feel like I always needed more skill. Like, I feel like I always need to get better and always. And of course, there's always like room to grow. But I would once again look at all these coaches and mentors and think like, oh my gosh, they're so skilled. And like, I'm not as good as them. That was like a fear that I had. So I reframed that into thinking and believing and knowing what I am teaching, most people don't know. Like, the knowledge that I have, most people don't know. Like, they genuinely don't. And before I ever started doing business coaching, I was helping people with like personal development and writing books and speak on stages and like PR and marketing and like just confidence and mindset. A lot of what I did, most people don't do in their lifetime. And a lot of things that you've done, once again, most people don't do in their lifetime. So the reframe for me was, I might not be the best in the world, but I know a lot that most people don't. So there is a very big pool of people who are more than happy to pay me money for the offers that I'm selling. So it could be even just like the smallest shift in that and reframing and making that your normal. Okay. And we're almost at the hour. So we have like one more slide to go through. Then we're going to wrap it up for today. And let me know in the chat, what has been your biggest takeaway so far? This has been so interesting. This has been one of the quietest masterclasses that I have done. Like, I'm looking at the chat and some of you guys are like commenting and stuff, but it's been the first time it's been one of the quietest master classes that I've ever done. So I don't know if you guys are just like really absorbing it, because sometimes when I do talk about mindset and when I talk about things that are a little bit more like heavy, people tend to quiet because they're like, oh, like these are things I have to shift. So just know also, if you guys are feeling kind of like, oh, like there are things I need to shift and do, like this is self-awareness, right? It's like everything that you guys are experiencing right now, you have the opportunity to shift and change it. Yeah, Marley, totally absorbing it. I can just feel the energy from my laptop and from my phone, which is amazing. Okay. So the last piece of DNA is attraction. Okay. Which is like, you guys know me for attraction. I literally have programs on that. I talk about that all the time. You attract what you believe the most and what you think you're worthy of. So I always say money is not real. There's no real value to the tangible dollar bill. What is value is the value that you hold within yourself. So when we put so much emphasis on making money and like getting money and trying to find it outside of ourselves, we do the opposite, which is repel it away from us. Because guess what? Money's not real. So it's like when you're trying to search for money or like sign on clients, it's like you're trying to search for something that's not real. So for me, when I talk about attraction, it's like you attract clients to you. It's not just in a strategic approach, but it's more so an energetic approach. When you're someone who is of value, and not just of value in terms of I'm going to teach you X, Y, and Z, or I'm going to provide you with this service. But when people know you're of value by the way that you show up, by the way that you speak, by the way that you ground, you're like grounded in yourself, by the way you show up, they will follow. Which is also why what I led with in this masterclass was I ask all of you guys to be seen and be visible, because I don't care if you're selling a coaching program, a service, any of it, people are buying from you as a person. So the more certain, the more confident, the more value you see within yourself, the more money you're going to make. So instead of chasing money, you have to make you your top priority. You have to make you your top priority. So what have you been doing? And let me know in the chat, what have you been doing to make yourself more valuable in terms of like filling your own cup, in terms of what people call, like, of course, like personal development? Like, what have you been doing? Let me know in the chat. And for me, like something that I do every single day that allows me to just like know I am of value is like, I will literally like look at myself in the mirror and I'll just like high five myself, or I'll just talk to myself in the mirror and be like, oh my goodness, I attract everything I desire because that is just who the fuck I am. Oh my goodness, today's going to be an amazing day. Oh my goodness, your hair looks fucking beautiful. Like I literally am that type of person where I will look at myself in the mirror, be like, wow, she attracts everything. She is amazing. And the reason why that works is because guess what? Now, when I sell something on social media, when I have a conversation with someone, when someone asks me questions about my offers, I know my offers are the best thing in the world. I know my masterclasses are the best thing in the world. I know everything that I post on social media is the best thing in the world. And it's not because I quote unquote am the most experienced person in the world, but it is because I actually see the value in myself. I see it. And I guarantee there is probably more than one thing, but at least one thing that people see in you that you need to see in yourself more. There's at least one thing people see in you that you need to see in yourself more. And you need to actually embody it more than what you're doing right now. I used to do these like exercises with my friends and family where I'd ask them, what is the biggest strength and weakness that you see in me? And I asked like 3 of my friends, family members too. I was like, give me a list of 5 strengths and 5 weaknesses that you see in me. And I did the same thing for myself. I wrote it down, and some of you guys know the story. I wrote it down on a piece of paper, 5 strengths, 5 weaknesses. Okay. I got back all of the answers from my friends and family members. Their top strength that they wrote down for me was confidence. And this was like literally 4 or 5 years ago. The top strength that they wrote down for me was confidence. I'm like, wow. Do you guys want to know what the top weakness I wrote down was? Let me know in the chat. Can you guys guess it? Do you know what the top weakness that I wrote down was? I'm going to see who guesses it first. I'm opening up the chat. Yeah, it was confidence. The thing is, like, we are so harsh on ourselves sometimes. Like, we don't see what other people see. So you want to start to do things that help you become the person who is actually in receiving mode, but B, you actually double down on the things that people are already following you for. Because odds are, once again, people are following you for certain reasons, and you want to make that more of value to them and to you. And now let me just look at the chat. Kristen, when we did private coaching and you helped me make the shift, my business took a huge leap. Yeah, Kristen, I've been doing yoga, meditation, scripting, visualizing my life as I desire it. And Kristen, like, I have so much love for you because you've been in my world for about like a year now. And we just finished private coaching together. And like the amount, I don't even have words, as you can see, but like the success and the clients and the money and everything that you made, it was fucking amazing. But like the biggest shift that I saw in Kristen was like herself, her energy, her confidence, her certainty. And that was the direct reason of all of the other success. So you need to make you a top priority, right? And like one thing that I always say too is like simple actions lead to daily transactions in your business. So that only happens when you don't control the outcome, right? So when you start to control the outcome, you can't actually receive, right? So how many times do you take an action in your business and your life, and then you sit there and you look at your phone to see if anybody bought? Or for the rest of the night, you're like, oh my gosh, am I going to reach my goal? And you start to overthink what you actually did. So getting in receiving mode, do this for your action plan. To stay in receiving mode, record a 1 to 2 minute audio of your desired outcome in present tense for how you want your month to look like. And I did this once again, like 2-3 years ago when I made like $2,600 in 1 month. I recorded myself in present tense, like literally, this is what happened this month. I had my first, and I can't remember what I said. I think I said like I had my first like $20,000 month. It was so simple and easy for me. I had the time of my life. It was easy for me to sell. I spent the rest of the time hanging out with my friends. Like looking back, the reason why I was able to achieve it was because I was seen. I made myself visible. I didn't overthink actions. I did them because I realized the only time is now, not tomorrow, not next week. It's now. So what I did was I recorded myself just as if I was the person who had already achieved that goal. And like this on its own, I guarantee if you guys do this, you will hit your goal. Guarantee it. Because I know you will. And right now, I mentioned this once again yesterday, I'm in a season of like big jumps in my business. So tonight I'm recording a new audio of me speaking in present tense of like my next season in my business. And I'm going to be listening to this at least once, if not twice a day. I recommend listening to this the minute you wake up in the morning. Like that's the first thing that you listen to, and when you go to bed. And when you listen to it, don't just listen to it. Genuinely listen to it, experience it, visualize it. And there's no right or wrong way to do this. But record it in present tense. So once again, just as if you have already done it. So the entire psychology behind this is when you listen to yourself, not somebody else, yourself saying that thing, you will start to actually do the actions to bring that into your reality instead of just thinking about it, right? So if you think about, oh, I want to make 20K in March, great, that's amazing. And then you have to make like a launch post. You're like, I don't know, I'm going to make it tomorrow. No. When you start to listen to yourself doing it, it's going to prime your mind to become that person who takes action fast because that's what you said in your audio. So instead of you waiting 20 minutes or tomorrow or next week to do it, you do it now. Okay. So let's wrap it up because we are at the hour. Now, the last slide that I want to say is every time you feel not enough or you're about to reach like your next goal, I want you to think of DNA and work through it. I want you to think of DNA. Like I want this to be your resource every time you feel like you're about to hit the next level, or you want to hit a next level and you want to prime yourself to be someone who's actually able to receive it, DNA, delusion, normalized attraction. Okay. And you know exactly what to do in each step. So this is actually also going to be a part of your homework. And if you guys are still here, don't jump off unless you have to, because I'm going to go through homework and a few other things. Delusion. Like today's homework is take action, speak in present tense. So go make a plan, like whatever that is. Go plan a celebration. It could even just be booking reservations for dinner. It can be setting up, to hang out with your friends. It could be going on a trip. I don't care what it is. Do something that will make you take action and speak in present tense. And if you usually don't do things like this, like go big, do it big, be delusional. That's the entire point. Okay. Second thing, normalize. Write down all the fears, doubts, insecurities, pedestals, nerves of you reaching your current goal. So once again, if for you it is 20K, write down what's in the way. When you think of 20K and when you think of it happening in your business, what's like holding you back, what's stopping you? Write it down and then rewrite those once again in normal tense, reframe them. And then lastly, record yourself. 1 to 2 minute audio of your desired outcome in present tense. Okay. Now let me stop sharing my slides, and I'm going to post this homework inside of the chat. And one other thing that's going to be in your homework too is make an introduction post in the Facebook group using the tag hashtag I am unforgettable. And once again, this will just allow you to connect with everybody else, make yourself seen, and it's just fun. It's just fun. I want to see all of you guys because we have a lot of new people here too. So that is day 1 of the 20K month masterclass. Some of you guys I see jumped off because you guys probably had to go at the hour, but let me know in the chat, what was the biggest takeaway for you? What shifted inside of you? What did you write down and rewrite down again? What did you write down? Let me know in the chat. Now, today was all about like mindset. It was all about embodiment. It was all about grounding. Tomorrow, it is going to be all about strategy, okay, which is always really fun for me to do. So tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern, I will see you guys, of course, once again, same time in this Facebook group, in the Zoom link, and we're going to go through the strategy of you reaching 20K months. So we're going to go through offers, marketing, sales, and how to actually do that in like a strategic way. Okay. Let me just look at the chat. Joe, recording and listening to yourself yields actions. Yes. Yeah, it absolutely does. Marley, pray daily, working on positive self-talk. I learned to be delusional is okay. It's necessary. Yeah. And like, it's okay if you get weird looks. It's okay if people don't understand you, because at the end of the day, I would much rather be delusional and be hypnotized and everything works out for me versus hypnotized in the bad. It's like, if your default is fear, if your default is doubt, if your default is, I don't know if it's going to work, I would much rather be in the opposite and it's still not working versus just being upset about it. Okay. So that is all for today. I'm going to be posting the homework right now in the Facebook group. So do the homework, post in the group, make an introduction post, and reminder, if you guys want to be a part of the giveaway, just take a picture, tag me on Instagram, and you will be a part of the giveaway. Okay. Thank you guys so much for being here, and I will see you guys tomorrow for day 2. And until then, make sure that you guys stay unforgettable.